Reba, how sort of settled do you think the 23 is at this stage with a week out from now?
No, I think there's still a bit of work to do. Obviously, we've got our main session for the week tomorrow. We will have a bit of game sim. So yeah, there's still a bit to play out, which is a great place to be, I think. We've obviously had some good opportunities over the last couple of weeks to have a look at some different combinations and in both the trial games, but there's certainly some things to play out still, I think.
You're still expecting Jason, if he does play, to maybe start the season a bit more time forward than he otherwise would?
Yeah, I think so. We showed on the weekend that he spent most of the game forward, and he still had a little bit of time through the midfield at different times, and we'll certainly be looking to do that in the first part of the season. We want to look after him from a health perspective. He's so important to us, and if we can help build him up by playing him forward, and he's certainly a really dangerous forward, so I'm more than happy to have him forward as a forward line coach, but he'll certainly get some time through the midfield as well.
What does that look like in terms of, obviously, you've got Georgiades down there absolutely flying again? How do you sort of fit Jace in there? Do you try and give him a little bit of space? You see him play out of the goal square at times. What does that look like?
I think he's really flexible. I think he can play multiple roles up there. So he's certainly a difficult matchup, whether he's playing up the ground or deep. So that might depend on the matchup too when he's forward on what it looks like for us, and it might depend on the matchup that Mitch has got as well.
Does that mean you might go with just 2 key forwards then with Jace? I know he's not tall, but he can play a bit taller than he is. It's a forward at times.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's still a bit to work through there. Obviously there's the second ruck as well, so there's still a fair bit to play out with that stuff. So we'll see how it plays out. Tomorrow is pretty important for us, I think, from a training perspective, and we'll probably have a bit more of a clearer picture in our own mind as a coaching group after tomorrow, I think.
Luco's groin, where's that at?
Yeah, he's obviously been a bit sore since the Adelaide game. He's had to work through a bit of rehab over the last couple of weeks. He's been built to train tomorrow, so he's done his work, ready to go and train tomorrow. So he'll look to get through that session, and we'll see how he pulls up out of that and make some decisions from there.
Considering his injury record, is it a case of he really needs to get through tomorrow and sort of flying colours to make sure he's ready? Is it one that you want to risk considering his history?
Certainly, we've been that way with everyone. We're not going to risk anyone, and Jack's obviously missed some time over the last couple of weeks and hasn't had the workload over the last couple of weeks, so they've sort of been able to build him up off legs as much as possible, but it's not the same, so he'll need to get through a fair chunk of training tomorrow and then pull up really well, and it's so early in the season, we're not going to risk key players this early, so if he's fit and healthy and gets through tomorrow and gets through the training early in the week, he'll certainly put his name up for selection, but we'll wait until we get to that point.
Feels as though it's been Jack Whitlock versus Ollie Lord for that third key spot. Is there a standout candidate in your mind at this stage?
Not really. They've been both equally as impressive. They play slightly different roles. Jack obviously was behind the 8 ball a little bit a few weeks ago, but he's had a really good month and played really well in both trial games, and Ollie just continues to play his role really well. So again, there's a fair bit to play out there, and that forward line mix was really impressive on the weekend, so that we'll see how that lands.
And the smalls, are you kind of happy with what you got at the moment with your small forwards? Corey's kind of had a little bit of, he didn't have too much time on the ground against West Coast. Was there a reason for that?
I think more than anything we're playing around with the new 23rd man scenario, obviously with the extra rotation and the rotation numbers staying at 75. You can't just roll 5 rotations through because you're burning your rotations too quickly, and or you're having people sitting on the bench for too long. So we're, like everyone else, just playing around with how that looks, and on the weekend we went down that track where we held Corey back a little bit, but he certainly provided us this great energy in the second half, so we'll see how that plays out.
Did you take anything out of watching last night's game? Did you get into terms of how the Swans did when they held Tom Papley back for the first 25 minutes, and also how the rucks worked for them?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to look at everyone and what everyone's doing, and we've got our own ideas, and we've had a lot of discussion around what that might look like. But yeah, it was interesting to see what they did with Papley last night, and a little bit similar to what we did with Corey last week. And we'll just see where it lands and what's best for us and what we need going into round 1, how that's going to look.
I know there's no game tomorrow, but you kind of have, you said there's no match. Still kind of a little bit of a captain's run thing today. It seemed like a bit more intense than previous years. Can you tell us about the thinking behind having, I guess, a more vigorous captain?
Yeah, certainly a little change that we made. We did it last week. It was a reasonably short, sharp, intense session last Saturday, and the guys felt like they had some good energy going into the game, so it's certainly something we'll continue to play around with. But yeah, this week's just been sort of building up to another game day scenario tomorrow for us, and try and keep it as normal as possible. And so today was again a little bit of a captain's run per se, but it was a short, sharp, intense sort of hit, which was positive.
Is there a sort of occasion tomorrow where the whole coaching group sort of collectively crosses its fingers that, like, so obviously you want to train at the level, but it's the worst possible time of year to have an injury?
You pretty much do that every match sim session, to be honest, because they're so they compete so hard every moment. So that's just we need to do it, and we need to keep ticking that off. So certainly be heart in the mouth at different times, but we'll get through.
It was only
Answer being new to the club, but it seems like today and sort of all through pre-season, Mitch Georgiades feels like after the season that he had last year, he's shown a bit more leadership. He was certainly with Joe Berry today. Have you seen him sort of become that leader of the forward line? Obviously in the past you've had your challenges with everyone.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was probably one of the challenges I put to Mitch and to Darcy Byrne-Jones as the more senior guys of our forward line group, and Sam obviously, but he's missing at the moment with injury. But Mitch has grabbed hold of that, and he certainly led the way. I mean, he just wants to be the best player he can possibly be. So he drives standards by the way he goes about his work. He does that every session, and that's what the best do. And he's been able to do that really strongly through pre-season, and the young guys jump on board and come with him, which is exciting.
It must be nice for Tommy Cochran to have a timeline to come back. He's not too far away for a guy who was showing us good things this pre-season.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're all excited about Tommy, and it was a disappointment when he got injured, but he's been really diligent with his rehab, and he's worked really hard over the last couple of weeks. He looks fit. I caught up with him for a coffee this morning, and he looks fit and he's energised and ready to go. We're sort of having to hold him back a little bit, to be honest. So, but it'll be exciting to see him back into training over the next week or two.
For the SSP guys like Mitch Sato, the first goal is getting on the list. Now that he's got this, how do you reframe his sort of goals and how he can sort of work his way into the one?
For me personally, with Mitch, you don't need to. So he rocked up here at the start with that attitude in mind about getting better every moment, and he's gone about that, and that doesn't change. He got a bit of a taste of it on Sunday, which was great for him, and he's got attributes that are going to be really exciting moving forward. But yeah, he's just one of those characters that we know is just going to turn up every day and get to work. So and Balen the same. They're not too much of a concern for us.
What is it tomorrow? Half a match sim? How do you sort of?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of 20 or 25 minute blocks with some other stuff in between that. So we're sort of guided by the high performance guys in that space, and they'll tell us how many minutes we get, and we'll work with that.
With Horner, I guess, kind of start playing more forward, does that mean you kind of just keep Miles as more of a midfielder when he comes back? Because I know Josh kind of spoke about, the two kind of swapping around and Miles coming out, using his marking ability.
I think there's real flexibility with all our mids to be able to play sort of half back, come forward if they need to. So that's a nice place to be. And Miles had a little bit of time forward through pre-season. I'm sure we'll keep exploring that. But we saw on the weekend Jason and Zach swapping at different times during the game, midfield forward. So yeah, there's some nice flexibility with those guys.